Salam. This is Joan. I'm covering the last Hadith in Al-Nawawi's 40. There are actually 42, and then I'm going to speak a little bit about Abu Bakr. I'm going to start with Surah 113 again. Allah, I seek refuge in you. You are the Lord of the daybreak, from the evil that exists, from the night as it darkens, from those that lure us away from you, and from the envier when they envy. In Arabic, as Allah, Ana el-Jab, Antakam al-Fajr, Amini min Shiri, Layla, min al-Mutalin, min al-Hasidin. And that's kind of the general idea, but I used the only Arabic I was able to, and verbatim, what I tried to say was, Allah, I trust you, rule the dawn, protect me from evil that's at night, and from con artists, and from enviers. So Surah 42, it talks about the expanse of the forgiveness of Allah, that He does forgive people when they're repentant, and not to associate anything with Him. That's kind of true, but if you read the Quran, there are details about it where your righteous deeds need to exceed any errors that you make, and then you're forgiven. I was wondering where the Hadith continued, since there were 30,000 after 42. And then I remembered that there were many people that contributed to the oral teachings. One was Abu Bakr. So I looked up information about him. He picked up the leadership when Muhammad died. Muhammad passed away from, it said they assumed it was epilepsy, around the age of 60. And then Abu Bakr was actually the father-in-law of a daughter that married into his family named Aisha. I look at my notes. So Muhammad died June 8th, and this took place about 600 years ago in the 14th century. At the time of Muhammad's death, Arabia had rejected Islam, so Abu Bakr picked up the pieces. I wondered, it said that he became a leader, and I wondered if he was elected. What it said online was, in quotation marks, he resolved the crisis of succession, and he became what was called make sure I pronounce it right, caliphate, which is more than just a religious leader, it's the political and military leadership. I looked up some of the quotes he made because I was curious. I've always been a peace activist. What might motivate people to fight and the type of thinking that they have. But both Muhammad and Abu Bakr are now buried in the green dome of Mecca. And Abu Bakr ended up dying of natural causes. He was a cloth merchant. And some of his quotes, I'm going to just tell you what I remember, and then I'm going to read them the way they listed them. But he spoke about jihad, and it's kind of an evaluation of morality, of environment and yourself. He said that jihad fights infidels, but a greater jihad is to fight the evil within yourself. How everyone has the side that does better, and then when you look deeper, that part of you that you want to change. So I liked that one. And then he made a quote about shyness and modesty. He said that, is he the best among you? No, he said, a man that is shy and modest is amazing, and a woman that is beyond amazing. Then he spoke about hatred, and he said that we can't change hatred, we can only clean our own hearts. And he made one about complaints, and it was to the effect that if you eliminate complaints, you'll have happiness. I'm going to read them verbatim because this is just what I remember. And he spoke about knowledge, how limited knowledge, it's kind of turns into a silly type personality, and I don't know how he described greater knowledge turns into exploitation. I'm going to read it exactly the way it was said, in case I didn't get it right. It said, to fight against infidels is jihad, but to fight against your own evil side is greater. There is nothing we can do about hatred. We can only keep our own hearts clean. He who avoids complaints invites happiness. A shy person is an amazing man. Amazing man is shy and modest, a woman beyond amazing. And when knowledge is limited, it leads to folly. When it exceeds a certain limit, it leads to exploitation. And I thought how, that reminded me how I made inventions I discussed with people. I didn't know any better than now they talk about keeping information secret, so that doesn't happen, but I invented several things. One was plastic covering on cookies. I was using it in my home. Ebooks. I came up with an idea where instead of having towels that you have to keep washing, that you can make an air vent kind of suction that dries you off after you shower. And they actually put that in a movie. I saw it was called Bob the Butler, and it starred Brooke Shields. I enjoyed watching it, but that was just kind of neat to see that someone values your thinking. But I wonder how all these things happen. And now I'm working on another invention. I'm hoping it turns out right this time, but I'm impoverished, so I'm not sure what will happen. And then I'm going to just look over my notes real fast. Oh, I wanted to discuss how Abu Bakr, he did take over the leadership. He was involved in many fights. There was a term for it. It's something like Russia did in the wars. But I just see somewhere in my notes. And then he ended up, instead of it being rejected, it started to rule the territory, and even Islam became an empire. When I started school in Ohio, we began reading about the Ottoman Empire. I thought it was Germany, but apparently we have some things in common with Islam. That's one of the empires, and then there were two other Muslim empires. One was the Safavid. Look at this. Vids, Safavids. The other was Mughal, Mughals. I wondered if that was a Mongol. And then it did say some Mongols are Muslim. And they said their blood type tended to be O, which that's what mine is. So I thought that was interesting. But Abu Bakr was very helpful in the spread of Islam.